What up, guys? It's your girl ManicMeeks, and I am back with another 30-day of Disney Plus review. So yesterday was the 15th. Today's the 16th. I had to get my life together, get back on the schedule. And I went down the Marvel rabbit hole a bit. I started, was like, ooh, Captain America. Let's watch Captain America. And I was like, okay, Captain America. Let's watch the second one. Let's watch the third one. Now, wait, when did they all get together? Wait, when was the Avengers? Let's watch the Avengers. Let's watch the second Avengers. Then I had to go to Netflix to watch the, Infinity Wars. And then I came back to watch Endgame. So, that being said, my next review for my 30 Days of Disney Plus will be Captain America Civil War. I picked Civil War out of everything I watched yesterday because I forgot how much I genuinely enjoyed that movie. That movie was a perfect balance of humor and of just the weight in the decisions that were being made. That makes sense. Because usually the Marvel movies, they're more lighthearted. They're like action, fun, adventure. This one, it just felt more personal. You know what I mean? It felt more personal. It felt more grounded. It felt serious, more serious than any of the other Marvel movies that I watched yesterday, with the exception of Infinity Wars and Endgame. But Civil War, when was Civil War? Civil War was in 2016. It was in 2016 that Civil War hit the theaters, and I really love that movie. That's one of my favorite Captain America movies. It's almost one of my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Civil War is about Captain America coming to terms with the fact that his friend could be on the side of evil again and having to stop them, and not to mention the consequences of their actions in prior movies. Every time New York was destroyed, or every time, where was it? Like, it was pretty much New York. I think it was in Arizona. Was it Arizona or New Mexico where Thor was? Any place any one of the Avengers were, it completely decimated the area that we're in. And they put a highlight on Sokovia and Wakanda because of the amount of lives lost and the damage that eventually, you know, the countries themselves had to figure out how to recover and pay for it. So they were trying to figure out a balance between going out there and saving the world and being held accountable for your actions. And the way that the countries decided to do that was to come up with the Sokovia Accord, which effectively made the Avengers government entities, so that if they wanted them to go someplace they shouldn't go, I mean, it was up to the Accords to decide that. They no longer had ability to decide for themselves where they should go to help, who needed help, and, you know, how they should help. That was all given up to the Accords if they chose to sign it. And that was the crux of Civil War. It was Captain America who was like, I want to be able to help people when they needed help. He wanted the Avengers to continue to be a private organization that decided who they helped and how they helped. Tony was feeling very remorseful about all the things that they have done. And it was weighing heavily on him. The lives lost, the collateral damage, it was just weighing heavy on him. And he thought that it was in the best interest of the Avengers to go ahead and agree with the Accords, sign off, and become pretty much government contractors. That started it. But then you throw in Bucky, Senior Bucky Barnes, who was just a pawn at this point. Like, he still had some of the Hydra stuff in him, but it wouldn't activate unless you said the keywords. And then they had the villain, Nemo, somebody. I don't even, that's how unimportant the villain was. All he wanted to do was like cause friction between the group so that they would shatter. And he did that very easily with the manipulation of Bucky Barnes. You know how Cap feels about his best friend, his only living friend from that era. It was just a lot. That movie had so much, and I still didn't even go into most of the stuff. I still didn't even talk about T'Challa showing up, appearing, you know, getting our introduction to T'Challa. I didn't talk about that. I didn't even talk about the Wanda and Vision. Like, you know, like, there's so many great character moments in this movie that it is hard to try to encompass it in a 5-minute or less review. I'm just gonna say, if you have not seen it, I'm gonna need you to get your entire life, and start this Marvel train, that you have to watch them in order to understand why certain decisions were being made and why people are feeling the way that they were feeling. I am going to go ahead and give you guys my scales. Let's do that. Okay, so I usually do the cry factor, the laugh factor, and the heart factor. Now, believe it or not, this movie will get a 2 in the cry factor, and let me tell you why. There are scenes between Cap and Tony that hurt my heart, that I thought about the years of friendship that they had being broken in this moment, and you can tell how remorseful Cap was about the whole entire situation, but you can see how hurt Tony is. And Tony being hurt, that just broke my little feelings in two. Every time Tony Stark showed emotion, he cried, because in this movie, it was a reason for it. Like, it was a serious reason that anybody else was in that same situation, they will be hurt and upset and crying as well. And that's why I gave it a 2, because there are at least 2 times in this movie where I was crying. I remember watching this in the theater, crying. I just watched it and I still cried in the exact same spots I always cry. The laugh factor, I'm gonna give that a... There are some funny moments in this, but this is one of the first Marvel movies where it wasn't funny enough to break the story, if that makes any sense. That took you out of the situation or the emotions that you were supposed to be feeling in this. So I'm going to give this a 1 on the laugh factor, because there are quite a few moments where I chuckled and giggled, but it was still a very seriously toned movie. Now, the heart factor, I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4. This was, once again, I'll say it again, this was a very emotionally jarring movie. There were so many characters who were showing their range of emotions. It's just so much heart in this movie, because everyone, like, you understood all sides. Everyone was making a very clear and concise argument about why they felt the way they felt, and they were sympathetic to the other side. Like, I understand why you feel that way, but we just can't. You know, something has to give. We can't keep going the way we've been going. Something has to change. And it changed. Big time. Big time it snapped. And the repercussions from this movie were still felt in the movies following. So that should say a lot. But yeah, so that is my heart factor. It is a 4. So on that note, guys, that is my mini review of Captain America Civil War. And Disney Plus, to me, it's worth its weight in gold right now. Man, it's good. All right, guys, on that note, I will catch you in the next one. Bye!